there, ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Wheels, and welcome to a brand new shiny Pokemon tier extravaganza. Get ready as we dive into the world of Generation 8 and tier every shiny Pokemon introduced in Pokemon Sword and Shield, and as well as Legends Arceus. A while back, I decided to tier every shiny Pokemon introduced in Scarlet and Violet, and I was thinking, why not revisit every generation and see where each generation stands, and see which generation introduced the best shiny Pokemon. So in this video, we're going to rate those sparkling beauties based on 3 specific parameters: color palette, Pokemon typing, and finally, what that Pokemon represents. A good example I like to give is Muck. Muck is a poison type Pokemon that is literally described as filthy, vile sludge, and its original coloring shows that. But its shiny form perfectly depicts what its typing is and what it represents. From F for foul to S for simply spectacular, we will rank these shiny stars based on those 3 parameters. So get ready as I reveal the cream de la cream, the absolute cream of the shiny Pokemon crop. And as always, don't forget to like, comment down below your favorite Generation 8 shiny Pokemon, and subscribe for more Pokemon related content. And as always, hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date with all my Pokemon adventures. With that being said, fasten your seatbelts, grab your favorite Pokeball as we embark through Generation 8 and tiering those shiny Pokemon. Now unfortunately, we gotta start somewhere, and that somewhere is the bottom of the barrel with the F tier. And in this tier, we have Galarian Farfetch'd, Phalanx, Snom, Calyrex Ice and Shadow Rider, Weirdeer, Cleavor, and both of the Enamorous forms. Oh boy, where do I start with these? How about a portion of these all suffer from the same thing, and that is just a very slight color change to their color palette. Farfetch'd, Snom, and Enamorous shinies are just a slight change. The only one that I can actually see the small change is the Enamorous Incarnate form, where its feet are orange. I don't really have a quick fix for some of these, but let's just look at Galarian Farfetch'd. I know this is specifically considered a different Pokemon, but why not try to get close to its Cantonian shiny form? It will more than likely look better than the slight saturation it gets. Also, let's quickly talk about Calyrex Rider forms. So Calyrex shiny form stays when they merge, but not the horses. It just doesn't make sense to me. And finally, the final 3 on this list, Weirdeer and Cleavor color just, I don't know, doesn't make sense to me. People think I hate green shinies, but that's totally not true. I just feel green is such a specific color that if not done properly, just ruins the Pokemon, and here's a good example. And then finally, Phalanx. Listen, I kinda get what they're trying to resemble as sparring helmets, at least to me. But honestly, if you give these guys a more vibrant color, you have at least an A tier shiny, because this Pokemon has such a cool design. Next up is the C tier, and these shiny Pokemon is as average as you could get. But with them slight modifications, you got yourself one hell of a shiny. In this tier, we have Galarian Mr. Mime, Mr. Rhyme, Reboot, Cinderace, Cheetle, Dreadnought, Toxel, both Toxicity variants, Clobbopus, Morgrem, Obstagoon, Sirfetch'd, Frostmoth, Copperajah, Cupfu, both Urshifu forms, Glastrier, Sneasler, Basculin White Strip form and its evolution line Basculegion, Hisuian Avalugg, and finally Origin form Palkia and Origin form Dialga. Now we start with arguably the most disappointment of this group in shiny Reboot and Cinderace. I feel if they kept the white with the lighter orange change, it would have been fine, but the gray just feels off. It works fine with Scorbunny, but with Cinderace and Reboot, it just looks confusing. Then we have Cupfu and its evolution. The Cupfu isn't too bad I guess, but its evolution is a travesty. Honestly, I felt they should have went in the direction of its shiny Gigantamax forms, of white and red and white and blue. Those would have been badass. Then we have Toxel, Toxtricity, Galarian Mr. Mime, Mr. Rhyme, White Stripe Basculin, Basculegion, and finally Sneasler sharing the same problem and where the color choice kind of failed them a bit. Sneasler more than anything. I almost wish they went with the white over this tannish yellow color they gave it. Then we have Obstagoon. Obstagoon is just super out there despite having the dark type. I don't mind the colors, but finding a way that is just not too pizzazzing, if that's even a word, I feel would make a world of a difference. And then finally we have Origin form Dialga and Palkia. Listen, I love when they give a memento to prior forms of Pokemon as a reference to their shinies, but I don't know, I think here it doesn't work too well. Palkia more than anything needs more of a change. That change, I have honestly no idea. Now let's get to the B tier, and honestly, these shiny Pokemon are good, but with a slight tweak, we're looking at top tier shinies. And here we have Galarian Slowpoke, Weezing, and Stunfisk. Then we have Grookey, Thwackey, Rillaboom, Scorbunny, Sobble, Drizzle, Squovit, Greedent, Blipbug, Eldegoss, Yamper, Bolton, Roly-Poly, Chatcole. Listen, I'm just gonna say this right now, I can never say this Pokemon's name correctly, so I apologize if I missaid it. Colossal, Silicobra, Sandacobra, Cramorant, Arrokuda, Sinistea, Poltergeist, Impidimp, Pincurchin, male and female Indeedee, Cufant, Hatenna, Hatcham, Hatterene, Dracovish, Arctovish, Dreepy, Dracloak, and Dragapult, Zarude, Regieleki, Eternatus, base form Calyrex, Hisuian Sliggoo and its evolution Goodra, and Hisuian Sneasel. Okay. Listen, I know immediately I'm gonna get flamed for having 70% of the starters Pokemon in this tier, but hear me out. I actually don't mind the entire theme of Grookey's line. It's a play to Autumn. I don't know. I feel that something's missing, but it's still a good shiny. Then we have Sobble and Drizzle. Personally, I don't mind the colors picked, but to me it's just too light on the colors chosen. I feel if they went with a darker blue with the pink, it would have been great, but the saturation of the blue was too much. Then we have Scorbunny, and well, I kinda already explained why I'm not too fond on the shiny, it's just the gray. It's not bad on Scorbunny, but what if we just kept it white? It would have been perfect. Also, let's quickly talk about shiny Galarian Weezing real quick. I feel if they just made it a light purple, you hit jackpot on this shiny. And how about shiny Regieleki? The only change you see is the blue bands around its body and arms turn white. And that's fine, but why not add a light blue color, giving it more of an electricity feel in its arms? But in all honesty, these shinies aren't bad. Fine tune a couple of the colors here and there and you're looking at a great shiny. We're now down to the final two tiers, and honestly the difference between S and A really come down to preference. You can't really go wrong with any of these shinies. So before we get to the best of the best, let's see the straight A students. In this tier, we have Galarian Meowth, Berserker, Galarian Ponyta, Rapidash, Corsola, Cursula, Galarian Zigzagoon, Leonoon, Darumaka, Darmanitan, and its Zen mode, Slowbro, Slowking, Yamask, Reunigris, Inteleon, Dottler, Orbeetle, Nickit, Thievul, Gossifleur, Applin, Flapple, and Appleton, Barraskewda, Graplocked, Grimmsnarl, Milcery, Alcremie, Eskew, Stonejourner, Sizzlipede, and Centiskorch, Morpeko, Arctozolt, Dracozolt, Regidraco, Spectrier, Galarian Moltres, Galarian Articuno, Hisuian Arcanine, Typhlosion, Decidu... I can't. Desudeye? I got you, Wolfie. Hisuian Samurott, Bravery, Quillfish, and Overquill. So where do I start? How about Applin and its evolutions, Flapple and Appleton? Changing the red to a light candy apple green was the perfect touch for these Pokemon. It's the apple Pokemon, and the colors that come up with apples are red and green. So absolutely perfection. Then we have Sizzlipede and Centiskorch. And at first I didn't know how to feel about this color palette, but then I remember of a certain species of centipede. But real quick, if you're skirmish of bugs, mainly centipedes and all their little legs, I recommend that you skip ahead 10 seconds. Fair warning. This is the giant red-headed centipede, and after seeing this, I could totally see this shiny now. The colors complement it so well. And I know some of you are gonna ask, Wheels, how is Galarian Zigzagoon and Lanoon up on this tier, but not its final evolution form? As I said earlier, I actually don't mind the colors they gave them despite the dark typing. Just that if you're gonna give them these bright colors, not to go overboard with them. Here's a perfect example as they mainly use the bright red while using the blues in the mouth, eyes, and nails. I personally think it's well done. And lastly, I really love what they did with the Galarian form Pokemon. Every one of them were given great color palettes and perfectly symbolizes what their typing are. Each one looked fantastic, and if I had to choose my favorite one, I would have to go with Galarian Ponyta and Rapidash. Well, we finally made it. The creme de la creme. The cream of shiny Pokemon of this generation. These Pokemon were nailed perfectly. In the S tier, we have Rookidee, Corvisquire, Corviknight, Wooloo, Dubwool, Duraludon, Zacian, Zamazenta, Galarian Zapdos, Hisuian Growlithe, Voltorb, Electrode, Lilligant, Zora, Zoroark, and finally Ursaluna. Man, the Hisuian Pokemon introduced in Pokemon Legends Arceus are just straight fire, bro. Voltorb and Electrode were perfect. If you play the games, you would see the similarities to the balls used in those games. But if not, you can see how they represent the Ultra Ball, like the Ketonian one represent the Great Ball. And then the color palette used for Hisuian Lilligant were great. Despite it just being slight modifications, they kept the elegance of the grass fighting it was trying to represent. And I know we can all agree Zora and Zoroark scheme just don't miss. They kept the shiny colors that the OG Zora and Zoroark had while keeping the light white for its normal typing. Then finally we have Ursaluna. Ursaluna is just a great change to its prior Evos. I personally didn't like the green on Ursaring, but the red that it was given was amazing. It is a perfect representation of a blood moon. And if you don't know, Teddy Ursa, Ursaring, and Ursaluna all have some representation of the moon. So this was just fantastically done. Then we have one of my favorite flying type Pokemon, Corviknight, and its entire Evo line. Each one of them were given perfect colors to represent. Gold for Rookidee, silver and black for Corvisquire, and then the smoking gray to give a metallic feel for Corviknight. Perfect. And to end it all off, probably the most debatable ones in the entire group, Wooloo and Dubwool. And well, I said some of these can be preference between S and A. I personally love just reversing the black and the white on these Pokemon. But listen, I'm just gonna say it, how can I not put my mascot in the top? I mean, come on. So, there you have it. That's every Generation 8 shiny Pokemon tiered from F to S. So, do you agree with my tier list? Is there any of the Pokemon you would move around? Or was I just wrong in a majority of these? Let me know. Also, I do want to say that I go through a lot of Pokemon, so there may be a chance I may miss one. And if I do, let me know in the comment section down below, so when I do revisit this, I add them in later. Well, after doing this, I can surprisingly say Generation 8 did a great job of creating a diverse set of shiny Pokemon. A good 60% of the shiny Pokemon were really well done, which showed the effort and creativeness that they did in this generation. With that said, let's see the complete tier list with the Gen 9 added into the mix. Next up, Generation 7, and let me tell you, I have a special place in my heart for Generation 7 shiny Pokemon. It's the very first generation where I started shiny hunting. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that video. I hope you guys enjoyed as I tiered every shiny Pokemon introduced in Pokemon Sword and Shield and Pokemon Legends Arceus. If you want to go back and see how I tiered every Generation 9 shiny Pokemon, then click this video right here. Or if you're feeling adventurous and want to see one of my other Pokemon related content, then click right here. And finally, if you made it this far without subscribing, well, click the button right here. But that's it for me, fellow trainers. As always, I hope you see you in the next Pokemon adventure.